Hi Math 3 students. So today we're going to it's kind of like we're hopping around here, touching a couple different topics. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about rotations about the axis and how to calculate volume of the 3D figures that are formed, all right? So first off, it says find the volume of the figure created when rotated about the x-axis, all right? So what we have to do here is we have to figure out first what shape is made. All right, the x-axis is this guy. And if we were to rotate this about the x-axis, what we would end up forming, now bear with me, again, my drawing skills are not the best, but essentially what we would end up creating here, let's see, actually that would go down to 5, is going to be a cone. Do you kind of see how if you were to rotate that, if you were to rotate a triangle, you would end up with a cone shape. All right. And what they want us to do is they want us to find the volume of this cone that we've just created here. So you can see, well, first off, we need to know how to find the volume of a cone. So if you look at your SAT formula sheet, we know that the volume of a cone is pi radius squared times the height all over 3. All right, that is the volume of a cone. So the things you need to plug in are the radius and the height. So we need to go ahead and calculate those. So here, the radius of this cone, that's going to be this value here, right? If you can kind of imagine this cone that was just created, it's going to be half of the circle that was made. Well, the radius here is going to be 5. And then the height is going to be this value here, right? The height of the cone is going to be 4. So we can go ahead and plug those in. We get pi and then radius squared, which is 5 squared, times our height, which is 4, all over 3, which is going to give us 25 times 4, which is 100. So we would get 100 pi over 3. All right, this, and I guess this would just be units cubed. This would be our answer here. If you wanted to get a decimal equivalent, you definitely could. You would do 100 times pi, and then divide that by 3, and you get that that is equivalent to, or approximately equivalent to, 104.72 unit cubed. So that's how you'd find the volume of that cone. Now let's try another one. So it says the volume of, they want us to find the volume of the figure created when this is rotated about the y-axis. So this is the y-axis here. And if we were to rotate this triangle about the y-axis, we're actually going to end up with a cone again. Right, you can kind of imagine. This gets rotated. We're going to get a cone in this direction. All right. And again, to find the volume of a cone, we have to do pi radius squared times the height divided by 3. Now, one thing I want you to notice is 1 and 2 were the exact same triangle, but they were rotated about different axes. So it's really important that you pay attention to which axes it's getting rotated about so you can find the proper height and radius. So here, our radius is going to be 4. All right. And then our height is going to be 5. So we're going to do pi and then our radius squared, which is 4 squared, times our height, which is 5, and divide that by 3. So we get 16 times 25, and that's going to give us, or I'm sorry, 16 times 5, my bad. 16 times 5, which gives us 80. So we get 80 pi, divided by 3. You can't simplify 80 thirds, so it's just unit cubed. And then we'll get a decimal equivalent, which is going to be 83.78 unit cubed. I would know how to calculate both of these. All right, next it says find the volume of a figure created when rotated about the x-axis. So again, we're rotating about the x-axis, which is this guy. All right, so if you can imagine, when you rotate this square, you're actually going to end up with a cylinder. And you can kind of imagine you'd have, you know, the circle base there. If you were to rotate that, you would end up with a cylinder. Now, again, we're trying to find volume. So the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared times your height. All right. That is how you would find the volume of a cylinder. So we just need to find our radius. And if we look here, our radius is going to be 5. And our height, which is this guy, is going to be 7. And that's going to give us 25 times 7, which gives us 175 pi. And that's going to be unit cubed. And of course, we can get a decimal equivalent to that, which is going to be 549.78 unit cubed. All right, now let's see what happens in this next one. They want us to rotate about the y-axis. So again, imagine if you were to rotate a rectangle about the y-axis. Oops. We would end up over here. Again, with a cylinder. Right, we have our circle base, circle bottom. All right, and again, cylinder is pi radius squared times your height. So we got to find our radius. Our radius here is going to be 7. And our height is going to be 5. So we just plug that in. And we get 49 times 5, which is going to give us 245 times pi, which will be, let's see, what's 245 times pi? And we'll say unit cubed, and we'll get a decimal equivalent of 769.69 unit cubed. All right. So again, notice how these rectangles were the exact same rectangle, but we rotated them about different axes and we ended up with different answers. So pay super close attention to that.